at the presbytery, the housekeeper was petrified of being left alone, and occasionally the priest used to have to go away. There was a curate and the parish priest, and she would say to Mum, "Can Dad come up and stay with me at the presbytery, because I'm frightened of being on my own." So I'd go up, and of course the only place for me was the curate bed. She didn't give me the parish priest bed, she gave me the curate bed. And so I really got good with this, and in the most inappropriate places, I'd bring it up that I slept in the curate bed. It was true. And then I'd say, "Oh, but he wasn't there after the one time." Anyhow, I was coming out of Mass one day, and I said something like that, and I said, and I slept in the curate's bed, and a woman behind me, she said, "Did I hear you say you slept in the curate's bed?" I said, "Yes, were you eavesdropping?" I turned around, and she looked, really silly. And I thought, "You had a cheek. I hear you say you slept in the curate's bed." I said, "Yes, I did sleep. I used to sleep in the curate's bed." Well, when I was about 12, I suppose I'd be about 12, we lived at Rydalmere, but on a big estate. It was a long way to the front gate, about from here to the corner down there to the front gate. And well, at this age, we used to take them down a bucket of milk.
Who?
Down to the river where we saw the prawners out. We take them down a whole big jug of milk, and they would give us prawns in place of them. And one day, the chap who I suppose was about 18, the other fellow was there too, and he said, "Do you want to ride in a boat round to that corner?" And I said, "Yes." So they helped me in the boat, and here I am sitting as proud as Punch in the boat. And when we came back, I said, "Well, we're going to go home now." So we ran home, and I was full of excitement. I had a ride in the boat. They rowed me round to that corner, and Mum was standing on the top. There were about 7 steps to our landing, and she had her hands behind her back. And I'm full of excitement about the ride in the boat. And as I walked past her, she let loose and gave me the biggest belting I ever had. And I didn't know what I was getting it for. That was the worst part. I didn't know what I'd done wrong. And anyhow, I've got a beautiful belting. That's for going in the boat with that boy. But I was in sight the whole time. Oh, I don't think that was a just hiding. Really wasn't. I used to drive the horse and sulky to Parramatta, and one day I went in, and it had been raining and the ground was, slippery, outside the hotel, and Jack the horse was a very docile thing. As the kiddies were tiny, they could walk under his belly. He wouldn't kick or do anything. He'd stop dead. So anyhow, I'm in there opposite the hotel, driving into Parramatta into the main street, and it was slippery, and he went down on his knees, and I was on his thing, and I like that. I didn't pull him up. I helped him up, and he got up onto his 4 legs, and there were some men standing outside the hotel. They said, good on you, good on you." He gave me a real boost. And I just continued on to Parramatta, went up Church Street and did the shopping, came back.
Where were you going to?
I suppose I was going up. I think I was going up to collect the dole. I think it was might have been. But Dad didn't want to go, and I had to go with Peg. We had to take the billy cart. Dad had made the billy cart, and Mum once told Peg, when she saw big oranges in the fruit shop, they boil those, Peg, so make them bigger. And Peg stands outside the fruit shop, and she said, "They've been boiling those oranges." They've been boiling those oranges, and I grabbed the other handle of the billy cart. She had one handle, and I had the other, like dead billy cart. And I pulled the billy cart, busted handle came off my hand. So we had to go up and get all the groceries. I think we were on the dole or something, we were poor. And we had to go up to the place to get the groceries, and we piled them all into the billy cart, and Peg wouldn't push it. And I had to push it with one handle. Oh, I was humiliated. And that was the day I think she stood outside the fruit shop and looked at the oranges, and they were big oranges, and said, they've been boiling them on an estate. There was a street, all right, and houses on, well, there was one on there was all bare area further on. And it came up a hill like that and went down like that, to the main road. And I'm just trying to think. Oh, I know. I looked down and I could see that the strap on the harness was almost through. The one that comes from the horse to the cart, the sulky. And it was almost through. And I said to Peg, I said, look, that's nearly through. That trace is nearly almost through. I said, I'd have to go back and get Dad to fix it. And with that, Peg jumped out of the bastard sulky over the back and left me with it. Within seconds, the trace broke, and the horse got tangled up around its feet. So it careered all over this estate. And I tell you, she got out over the back. And anyhow, when I came back, the horse had kicked the sulky to blazes. And when I got up there, I knew Dad would say I used the whip, and I didn't. I hadn't. And Peg standing there beside him, and he said to me, you so-and-so whipped him. I said, I didn't whip him, Dad. And I said, the trace was breaking. Anyhow, I didn't get a belting for it, but I got a good roasting. And he kicked us up, and I don't think we ever bought another one. We didn't have the money. But those were the days. But Peg was the tomboy, and she got out over the back and left me in it. And when I got home, I suppose I was as white as a sheet because I thought I was going to get a belting. I didn't get a belting. I think he saw that I was really and truly frightened.
Okay.
I used to sleep on the front veranda when we were in South Street, and I was never frightened. And there was a chappie further up the road that used to come down and play cards with Mum and Dad, and I'd go to bed because I couldn't play cards. I never wanted to learn to play cards, ever. And I'd go to bed, and when he was going home, as I say, I used to sleep on the veranda, and I'd say, good night. I can't even think of his name. I can't think of his name. It'd come to me, good night, so-and-so. And he'd say, good night, lad. And then he'd start talking to me. And we would talk there on the veranda, with me in bed on the veranda, and him out in the fence outside. Oh, talk. And I don't know what we used to talk about. And then he'd say, oh, well, I better go home. So he'd go home. And this used to happen, practically every time he came up. Mum and Dad didn't hear it, but, him talking to him, I would stop that. What are you doing, Paul?